Chapter 12. Actions that are permitted while fasting. Any obedient servant who understands the book and the sunnah will never doubt the fact that Allah wishes ease for His servants and not hardship, since He has allowed various things for the fasting person and has eliminated any harm if they are done. And here they are with their proofs. That the fasting person can begin fasting whilst in a state of janaba. This is being in a state which one needs a bath due to sexual impurities. It was his sallallahu alaihi wasallam's practice that if he was in a state of janaba from his wives, when dawn broke he would take a bath after the break of dawn and fast. From Aisha radiallahu anha and Salama radiallahu anhuma, that sometimes the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in a state of janaba from his wives and Fajr came upon him. Then he would bathe and fast. And this is reported within Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. The use of a toothstick, a siwak. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if it were not that I would be putting my nation to a hardship, I would have ordered them to use the siwak along with every wudu. This is considered as the brushing of the teeth. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not exclude the fasting person from this. So this shows that use of the siwak, the toothbrush, is for the fasting person and others along with every wudu and every prayer. This is the view of al-Bukhari rahimahullah, Ibn Khuzaymah and others. Likewise, it is not restricted to a particular time, rather it applies before or after midday and Allah knows best. Washing the mouth and nose. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to wash his mouth and nose whilst fasting, but he prevented the fasting person from doing it strongly. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and breathe water into your nose strongly unless you are fasting. And this is reported in Ahmed, Abu Dawood, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, Ibn Majah, Ibn Abi Shayba, and others. Embracing and kissing. It is established that Aisha radiallahu anha said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to kiss and embrace his wives while he was fasting, and he had more power to control his desires than any of you. This is found in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. However, this is something disapproved of for younger men in particular, not for older men, since Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As reports, we were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when a youth came and said, may I kiss whilst I'm fasting? He said, no. Then an old man came and said, may I kiss while I am fasting? He said, yes. So we began looking at one another. So Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the old man is able to control himself more. Giving blood and injections which do not provide nourishment. This is not the one of the things which breaks the fast. Also, refer to the coming section on those things which do break the fast. Cupping, bloodletting for medical purposes. This used to be one of those things which broke the fast, then this was abrogated. It is established that the Prophet ﷺ had it done whilst fasting due to the report of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma that the Prophet ﷺ was cupped whilst fasting. And this is found in Sahih Bukhari. Tasting food. This is with the condition that it does not reach the throat, due to the report from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma who said, there is no harm for a person to taste vinegar or anything whilst he is fasting, as long as it does not enter his throat. This is reported in Mu'allaq form by al-Bukhari, and in connected form by Ibn Abi Shayba and al-Bihaqi. Using kohl. This is the black substance applied to the rims of the eyelids. Using kohl and similar things which enter the eyes. These are things which do not break the fast, whether or not they produce a taste in the throat. This was the conclusion preferred by Shaykh Saleem Ibn Taymiyyah in his important treatise Haqiqatul Siyam, and also by his student Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah in his valuable book Za'atul Ma'ad. Imam al-Bukhari says in his Sahih, Anas, Al-Hasan, and Ibrahim did not see any harm in use of kohl for the fasting person. Pouring cold water over the head and taking a bath. Al-Bukhari says in his Sahih, in the chapter of a fasting person taking the bath. And Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma soaked a garment in water and put it over himself whilst he was fasting. And Ash-Sha'bi entered the bathhouse whilst he was fasting. And Al-Hasan said, there is no harm in rinsing the mouth and cooling one's body with cold water when fasting. And the Prophet ﷺ used to pour water over his head whilst fasting due to the thirst or the heat. Chapter 13. Allah wishes ease for you, the traveler. There are authentic ahadith reported which show that a traveler has the choice whether to fast or not. And we should not forget that this example of our Lord's mercy is mentioned in the noble book. The most merciful, the bestower of mercy, says, وَمَنْ كَانَ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ يُرِيدُ اللَّهَ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. And whoever is ill or on a journey, the same number of days which one did not fast must be made up from other days. Allah intends for you ease, and He does not want to make things difficult for you. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 185. Hamza ibn Amr al-Aslami asked Allah's Messenger ﷺ, shall I fast when traveling? And he was a person who fasted often. So Allah's Messenger ﷺ said to him, fast if you wish, and refrain from fasting if you wish. And this is found in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. From Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu, who said, I traveled along with Allah's Messenger ﷺ in Ramadan, and the fasting person would not criticize the one not fasting, nor the one not fasting criticize the fasting person. This is found in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. These ahadith show that one has a choice, but do not show which is better. It is, however, possible to show that it is better not to fast from the general ahadith, such as his sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, indeed Allah loves to give allowances, just as He hates that you commit sins, and in a narration, just as He loves to give His obligations. And these were reported in Ahmad Hiban from Ibn Umar, and it is Sahih, and is also narrated from At-Tabarani, Ibn Hiban, from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma. Know, O believer, that if fasting on a journey produces hardship for the servant, then it is not from righteousness. Rather, it is better and more beloved to Allah that he breaks his fast. The evidence for this is what has been reported from a number of companions radiallahu anhum, that the Prophet ﷺ said, it is not righteous that you fast on a journey. Some people may think that it is not permissible these days to break the fast on journeys, and so they criticize those who accept Allah's allowance. Or others think that it is better to fast due to the ease and availability of means of transport. So we would like to turn their attention to the saying of the one having full knowledge of the unseen and the seen, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا, and your Lord is never forgetful. And his saying, وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, Allah knows and you know not. And his saying in the ayat where he grants the allowance for the traveler to refrain from fasting, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah intends for you ease, and He does not want to make things difficult for you. All of which have been found in Surah Al-Maryam, ayat 64, Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 232, and Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 185. Ease is something which Allah wishes for the traveler, and it is one of the goals of the magnanimous Sharia. And do not forget that the one who laid down the prescriptions of the deen is the creator of all times, places, and people. So He knows better about the people's needs and what will improve them and what is fitting for them. He, the mighty and majestic, says, أَلَّا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ, was translated to mean, should he not know what He created? And He is the most kind and courteous to His slaves, all aware of everything. Surah Al-Mulk, ayat 14. We quote this so that every Muslim realizes that when Allah and His Messenger have decreed a certain matter, then he does not have any choice about it. Rather, he says, along with Allah's humble believing servants, who do not give precedence to anything before Allah and His Messenger, سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير, which is translated to mean, we hear and we obey. We seek your forgiveness, our Lord, and to you is the return of all. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat 285. The ill. Allah has allowed the sick person to refrain from fasting as a mercy for him and a convenience. The illness which allows a person to break his fast is that which will, if he fasts, cause some harm, increase in severity, or be prolonged by it, and Allah knows best. Menstruating women and women having postnatal bleeding. There is an ijma, a total consensus amongst the scholars, that menstruating women and women having postnatal bleeding are not allowed to fast, and that they must instead refrain from them and make up the days later on. If they fasted, that would not count as fasting, and this will be covered and explained later on, inshallah. The frail elderly man or elderly woman. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma said, the elderly man and old woman who are unable to fast should feed a poor person in a place of each day. This is found in Sahih Bukhari, this is found in Fathul Bari, this is found in Sharh Sunnah, and so many more. Ad-Daraqutni reports and declares it authentic by way of Al-Mansur from Mujahid from Ibn Abbas that he recited, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامٌ مِسْكِينٌ. As for those who can fast with difficulty, they have a choice, either fast or to feed a poor person for every day. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat 184. And said, it is the old man who is unable to fast, so he refrains from fasting and instead feeds a poor person with a half of sa' of wheat. A sa' is a measure equal to 4 times the quantity held by the 2 outstretched hands. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said, whoever reached old age and is unable to fast the month of Ramadan, he should give a mud of wheat for each day. A mud is the quantity held by the 2 outstretched hands. This is reported from Ad-Daraqutni, Abdullah ibn Salih, who is weak, however, it has supports. From Anas ibn Malik, that one year he became too weak to fast, so he prepared a large dish of tarid. This was a broth of crumbled bread and meat, and he invited 30 poor people who came and ate their fill. And this is reported as being sahih from Ad-Daraqutni. Last but not least, the pregnant and breastfeeding woman. From Allah's great mercy upon his weak servants is that he has allowed some of them to refrain from fasting, and among them are the pregnant women and those who are breastfeeding. Anas ibn Malik said, a detachment of the cavalry of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam attacked us. So I went to Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and found him eating, and he said, come and eat. So I said, I am fasting. He said, come, I shall inform you about the fast or fasting. Indeed, Allah, the Blessed and Most High, remitted half the prayer for the traveler, and fasting for the pregnant and breastfeeding. And by Allah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, both of these together, or one of them, but how I grieved that I did not eat from the food of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Chapter 14, Breaking the Fast, Iftar. When does the fasting person break his fast? Allah the Most High says, ثُمَّ إِتِّمُوا صِيَامَ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ. Then complete your fast till the nightfall. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained this to mean the approach of the night, the passing away of the daylight, and the disappearing of the sun below the horizon. We have already quoted enough so that the heart of the Muslim who follows the Sunnah will be at rest. So, O servant of Allah, you have the words of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam before you, and you have read them. His practice is no longer unknown to you, and you have seen the practice of the companions radiallahu anhum, and they carefully followed whatever the exemplary messenger brought. From Amr bin Maymun al-Awdi, who said, the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were the earliest of people in beginning the iftar and the latest in taking suhoor. And this is reported from Abdul Razak in al-Musannaf. So, O Muslim, you should break the fast as soon as the sun sets, and do not be bothered by the bright redness remaining upon the horizon. In doing this, you would be following the sunnah of your Messenger ﷺ and differing from the Jews and Christians, since they delay breaking the fast until the stars start to appear. Following the way of the Messenger ﷺ and applying his sunnah means that the symbols of the deen are raised high, and that we are proud of the guidance which we are upon, and we hope that all souls will gather upon that. Hastening and breaking the fast brings about good. From Sahih ibn Sa'id radiallahu anhu, that Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, the people will not cease to be upon good as long as they hasten in breaking the fast. And this is reported by Imam Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim. Hastening and breaking the fast is the sunnah of Allah's Messenger ﷺ. If the Islamic Ummah hastens in breaking the fast, then it has remained upon the sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ and the way of the pious predecessors, as-Salaf as-Salih, and they will not go astray, if Allah wills, as long as they cling firmly to that and reject everything which opposes it. From Sahih ibn Sa'id radiallahu anhu, that Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, my ummah will not cease to be upon my sunnah as long as they do not await the stars when breaking the fast. And this is reported by Ibn Hibban with a Sahih Isnad. And it is said, the Rafidi Shia are in conformity with the Jews and Christians, and they're delaying the breaking of the fast until the appearance of the stars, and may Allah save us all from their misguidance. Hastening to breaking the fast contrary to those who are misguided and astray, and those upon whom is Allah's anger. If the people continue to be upon good because they follow the way of their Prophet and keep to his sunnah, then Islam will remain uppermost and have the upper hand, unharmed by those who oppose it. Then the Muslim Ummah will be a lamp shining out through the darkness, and an example to be followed, because it will not be a tail for the nations of the east of the west, nor a cover for every shouter of slogans who bends with the wind in whichever direction it takes him. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said that the Prophet ﷺ said, the deen will not cease to be uppermost as long as the people hasten to break the fast, since the Jews and the Christians delayed. And this is reported in Sunan Abu Dawud and Ibn Hibban. These hadith contain a number of very important points, which we will explain here. That the deen remaining uppermost, which its banner flying high, depends upon acting contrary to those previous nations who were given the book. There is a lesson in this for the Muslims, that they will attain everything good if they remain distinguished upon the guidance. That the deen remaining uppermost with its banner flying high depends upon acting contrary to those previous nations who were given the book. There is a lesson in this for the Muslims, that they will attain everything good if they remain distinguished upon the guidance, not leaning towards the east or the west, refusing to be a satellite of the Kremlin, or to graze upon fodder in the fields of the White House. May Allah blacken, and not to turn their faces to London. May Allah devastate and lay waste to it, because if they did this, acted contrary to the previous nations, then they would stand out amongst the nations and be looked upon with respect, and hearts would have love for them. But that will only happen by returning to the Islam found in the book and the Sunnah, in Aqidah, in Creed, and Minhaj, methodology. Cling to Islam means in its totality and its details, as Allah the Most High says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا ادْخُلُوا فِي السِّلْمِ كَافَّةً. O you who believe, enter into Islam perfectly, wholeheartedly. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayat 208. Therefore, the division of Islam into major issues and minor matters is an innovation of modern Jahiliyyah, modern day ignorance. And what is intended by it is to confuse the thoughts of the Muslims and to enter them into the whirlpool of concerns which have no basis in the deen of Allah. In fact, their roots extend back to those who upon is Allah's anger, those who believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the rest, those whom we have been ordered to act contrary to in general and in specifics. And you are aware that the fruit of acting contrary to the Jews and Christians is that the deen will remain uppermost and strong. Calling to Allah, ad-da'wah, and reminding the believers does not cause disunity. The grave troubles which have beset the Muslim Ummah do not make us differentiate between our obligations towards Allah, nor should they make us prefer some of them over others. treating some so lightly that we end up saying, as many say, these are superfluous matters, minor matters, disputed matters, or side issues, which we must leave and instead concentrate our efforts on the primary concern which has caused us to disunite. O Muslim, who calls to Allah upon clear proof, you have seen from these ahadith that the well-being of the deen is dependent upon hastening to break the fast, which depends upon the setting of the sun, so that those people fear Allah who declare that breaking the fast along with the setting of the sun is discord, fitna, and that calling to revive the sunnah is a call to misguidance and ignorance and takes the Muslims away from their deen, or that it is a call which of no value, and that the Muslims cannot possibly be brought to unite upon this, since it is a side issue about which there is disagreement, or that it is a minor matter and there is no power nor action except by the will of Allah. Breaking the fast before praying the Maghrib prayer. Allah's Messenger ﷺ used to break the fast before praying, and this is reported in Ahmad, Sunan Abu Dawood, all reported from Anas. Hastening, Allah's Messenger ﷺ used to break the fast before praying. Hastening to break the fast is one of the manners of the prophets. From Abu Darda radiallahu anhu, three things are from the manners of the prophets: hastening and breaking the fast, delaying the suhoor, and placing the right hand upon the left in the prayer. And this is reported by At-Tabarani and Al-Qadir and Al-Majma'. With what should one break the fast? Allah's Messenger ﷺ used to encourage the breaking of the fast with dates, and if they were not available, then with water. And this is from the completeness of his deen, ﷺ, the completeness of his kindness and concern for his ummah, and for giving them sincere advice. The Lord of the worlds, who sent Muhammad as a mercy to them, says, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ عَزِيزٌ عَلَيْهِ مَا عَنِّتُمْ حَرِيصٌ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَءُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. Verily there has come unto you a messenger from amongst yourselves. It grieves him that you should receive any injury or difficulty. He is anxious over you to be rightly guided, to repent to Allah and beg him to pardon and favor your sins, in order that you may enter paradise and be saved from the punishment of the hellfire. For the believers he is full of pity, kind and merciful. And this is Surah Al-Tawbah, Ayat 128. Giving something sweet to an empty stomach leads to is acceptance, and that the body takes benefit from it, especially a healthy body, which will be strengthened by it. As for water, then the body becomes somewhat dehydrated through fasting, and so if it is moistened with water, then it can take complete benefit from the food. And know that dates and water contain various blessings and special qualities which have an effect upon our hearts and in purifying them, which will be known only to those who follow the Sunnah. From Anas radiallahu anhu, who said, the Prophet ﷺ used to break the fast with fresh dates before praying, and if not with fresh dates, then with older dates, and if not with dates, then with some mouthfuls of water. And this is found in Ahmad, Sunan Abu Dawood, At-Tirmidhi, and Ibn Khuzaymah. What should a person say when breaking the fast? O Muslim, may Allah guide you and I to follow the Sunnah of our Prophet ﷺ. There is for you a supplication, a dua, which will be answered. So seize this opportunity and call upon Allah, being sure that it will be answered. And know that Allah does not respond to a heedless and inattentive heart. Call upon Him with supplications for anything good, and hopefully you will attain the good of this life and the hereafter. From Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, who said, He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, three supplications are answered: the supplication of the fasting person, and the supplication of one oppressed, and the supplication of the traveler. This supplication, which will not be rejected, is at the time of the breaking of fast, as is shown in the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There are three whose supplications are not rejected: the fasting person, when he breaks his fast, the just ruler, and the supplication of the oppressed. And this is reported in At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, and Ibn Hibban. From Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, who said, Allah's Messenger ﷺ said, indeed, there is for the fasting person, when he breaks his fast, a supplication which is not rejected. And this is reported in Ibn Majah, Al-Hakim, Ibn As-Sunni, and Tayalisi, and a few others. Indeed, the best dua is that reported from Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say when breaking the fast, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. The thirst has gone, the veins are moistened, and the reward is certain, inshallah. Providing food for a fasting person to break his fast. O Muslim, may Allah send blessings upon you and enable you to do works of goodness and piety. Seek to provide iftar for a fasting person due to the great reward there is for this. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he who gives food for a fasting person to break his fast, he will receive the same reward as him, except that nothing will be reduced from the fasting person's reward. And this is found in Ahmed, At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, and Ibn Hibban. If a Muslim who is fasting is invited by someone, then he must accept the invitation, since anyone who does not respond to the invitation has disobeyed Abu Qasim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he should be certain that acceptance will not reduce any of his good deeds or reduce his reward. It is also recommended for the guest to supplicate for the host after finishing the food, with one of the supplications reported from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such as his saying, أكل طعامكم الأبرار وصلت عليكم الملائكة وأفطر عندكم صائمون. May the righteous eat along with you, the angels seek forgiveness for you, and those who fast break their fast along with you. And also, Allahumma at'im man at'amani wasqi man saqani. O Allah, feed the one who fed me and give drink to the one who gave me drink. And Allahumma ighfir lahum warhamhum wa barik fayima razaqtahum. O Allah, forgive them and have mercy upon them and place blessings in what you have provided for them. Allahumma ameen. Actions which nullify the fast. There are many things which a fasting person must avoid, since if he commits them during the day in Ramadan, his fast will be broken and thus be added to his sins. And they are eating and drinking deliberately. Allah the Most High says, وَكُلُّوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَّبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ ثُمَّ أَتِمُّوا الصِّيَامَ إِلَّا اللَّيْلَ. Which translated to mean, and eat and drink until the white thread, the light of dawn, appears to you, distinct from the black thread, darkness of night, then complete your fast till the nightfall. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 187. Therefore, it is known that fasting is abstaining from eating and drinking. So if the fasting person eats or drinks, then he has broken his fast. This applies only to the one who does so consciously, and not to the one who does it forgetfully or accidentally, or is forced to do it. This is known by the following proofs. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if one of you eats and drinks out of forgetfulness, then let him complete his fast. For it was indeed Allah who gave him food and drink. Reported by Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah has excused for my ummah mistakes, forgetfulness, and what they are forced to do. And this is reported by At-Tahawi in Shahr al-Ma'ani, Al-Athar, Al-Hakim, Ibn Hazm, and Ad-Daraqutni from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, and it is all Sahih. Making oneself vomit. One who has an attack of vomiting, there is nothing upon him. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whosoever has an attack of vomiting, then no atonement is required of him. But whoever vomits intentionally, then let him make atonement for it. Meaning fasting another day in its place. And this is reported by Sunan Abu Dawud, At-Tirmidhi, Ibn Majah, Ahmed, all from Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, and it has been mentioned as being Sahih. Menstruation and after-birth bleeding. When a woman begins to menstruate or begins after-birth bleeding during the day in Ramadan, whether it is at the start or at the end of the day, then her fast is broken, and she must make up by fasting another day in place of it. And if she were to continue fasting, it would not count. He ﷺ said, "Is it not that if she menstruates, then she does not pray nor fast?" And we said, "Yes, indeed." He said, "Then that is the deficiency in her deen." And in a narration, she remains not praying at night and refraining from fasting or Ramadan, then that is the deficiency in her deen. And this is reported in Sahih Muslim from Ibn Umar and Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhuma. The order to make up for it by fasting other days is reported in the hadith of Mu'adh, who said, "I asked Aisha radiallahu anha, saying, why is it that the menstruating woman has to make up her fast but not the prayers?" She said, "Are you a hururi?" And I said, "I am not a hururi, but I wish to ask." And she said, "That used to come upon us, and so we were ordered to make up the fast and were never ordered to make up the prayers." And this is reported in Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari. And in regards to mentioning the Hururis, this refers to the land of Hurur, which is a town 2 miles away from Kufa. One who holds the beliefs of the Khawarij is called a Hururi, since the first of them to appear rebelled against Ali radiallahu anhu and stayed at that place, as pointed out by Ibn Hajar and al-Fath al-Bari. These Hururis make it obligatory upon the woman that when she becomes clean of her menses, she must make up the prayers that she missed. So Aisha radiallahu anha feared that Mu'adha had learnt her question from the Khawarij, whose habits were to oppose the Sunnah. So with their own opinion and analogy, and their like in our time are many, this is what took place. Injections containing nourishment. This is giving nourishment intravenously so that it reaches the intestines, with the intention of nourishing a sick person. This breaks the fast since it involves entering nourishment into the stomach. Also, if the injection does not reach the intestines but reaches the bloodstream, then it likewise breaks the fast since it is being used in a place of food and drink. It often happens that, say, people in a coma for a long time have to be fed with the like of those drips containing glucose and saline solutions, and the same goes for the inhalers, which those who suffer from asthma also have to use. So therefore they also break their fast. Sexual intercourse. Imam Ash-Shawkani said in Ad-Darariyul Mudiyya that there is no disagreement that sexual intercourse breaks the fast if it is done deliberately. However, if it is done by one due to forgetfulness, then some scholars make it the same as one who eats or drinks forgetfully. Ibn al-Qayyim said in Za'atul Ma'ad that the Quran shows that sexual intercourse breaks the fast, just like eating and drinking. No disagreements is known concerning this. The proof of this comes from the Book of Allah, the Mighty and Majestic, as He says, فَلْأَنْ بَشِّرُوهُنَّ وَابْتَغُوا مَا كَتَّبَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. So now have sexual relations with them and seek that which Allah has ordained for you, meaning offspring. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 187. So Allah allowed mubashara, meaning sexual intercourse. So it is known from this that fasting is withholding from sexual intercourse, eating and drinking. So whosoever nullifies his fast with sexual intercourse, then he must make up the fast with another day, aqwadah, and also give expiation, kafara. And the proof of this is in the narration of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that a man came to him and said, "Ya Rasulullah, I am destroyed." And he asked, "What has destroyed you?" He said, "I cohabited with my wife during Ramadan." And he asked, "Are you able to free a slave?" He replied, "No." He asked, "Are you able to fast 2 months consecutively?" He replied, "No." He asked, "Are you able to feed 60 poor people?" He replied, "No." He said, "Then sit." So he sat down. Then a large basket of palm leaves containing dates was brought to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, "Give this in charity." He said, "There is no one between its two lava plains poorer than us." So the Prophet ﷺ smiled until his molar teeth became visible and said, "Take it and feed it to your family." And this is the hadith which is found in Sahih Bukhari, in At-Tirmidhi, in Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abu Dawud, At-Tirmidhi, and others.